because I come from Harlem. You see, I wasn't born here, but I've been here since I was 11 months old. And of course, you know, it gives you a certain kind of arrogance. Especially growing up in Harlem. Because if you don't be from Harlem, where do you be from? You know what I'm saying? So, and to have a friend like Gertrude Jeanette as sort of like my sister here, and knowing her so presently, knowing that anybody I know wants to be in the theater, and anybody that I admire and think has any little juice at all and wants to get started somewhere. And I think about the American Negro Theater, those come-up places, in the basements, in the churches, and somebody's living room, and just in the streets, because we used to perform down the street, you know that, on 7th Avenue and 137th Street. I can find out my window when we get to the good address. Right, you know, between the Abyssinia Baptist Church and Brother Zion, you know, on the 7th. Oh, I'm telling you, what can I tell you? What else can you ask for and be a black person or be any kind of person? I've not come from Harlem. You know, but anyway, and not know a person like Gertrude Jeanette, because all the young people that I finally that came into my life that I knew had talent and somehow passed my way to be like them, and where I could be a mother like my mother was to me. I said, well, you know, when someplace to get started, the American Negro Theater existed, and now there's Gertrude Jeanette. I could always say, well, you know, I call her Gertrude. I said, well, so this young person, I feel like talent, and somehow there was Gertrude Jeanette and the Hadley players. Where do you get started? And that's where I come in. It's just saying, where do you get started? Where do you get started in this living? And so that's what Gertrude means to me. It's a starting up place and a continuing on for years. And that's what Harlem means to me. It's my mother, my stepmother, and my father. And it's the teachers here. And the education system, it's the people on the street, it's the community. It's a nation, right, in a few blocks, you understand? So that's why I'm here today, and so delighted to be part of this coalition of theaters of color. Because I'm thinking that's what we're all about as a nation. We got to get together and put in the coalition part. We got to get together in terms of the coalition of human beings on this planet. And so that's the joy I feel, and it's the joy that, it's a hub place, because from this place, Harlem, we reach out everywhere. I think of all the marvelous people that were African Americans, we call ourselves black, but they were human beings. They were Hispanic, they were Jewish, they were white, they were so many people that have helped us become the coalition, who have helped us. So we tried to be an interracial organization when we first got started, but that didn't. It didn't turn out. But we made a gesture. One thing we have to do as black people in this world is to get the world ready. We've been there and done that. We got to get the world ready. So they gave me some words to speak. Well, maybe I might talk too much. And I'm not much of a talker, so my daughter, who is also our executive for our particular company, wrote some words, so I'd be sure to stay within my time. And I'm thanking people like that you may not have heard about, like Abraham Hill and Fred O'Neill, and And then the next strata, like Woody King and Carl Clay and Gertrude, Gertrude, my girl, my girlfriend. And all those people who understand that theater isn't just an occupation. It's a way of life. I mean, you know. And so, but I'm going to read these words. I want to thanks to Woody King and to the Coalition of Theaters of Color for the opportunity to join you all in honoring my good friend here, Gertrude Jeanette. Hadley Jeanette, really. Gertrude Hadley Jeanette. I cannot think of this coalition of the vibrant community of theaters of color without thinking of Gertrude and of the many years that my husband Ossie Davis and I stood with Gertrude and so many other tireless advocates for community theater in New York. In New York, and then we spread out, you know, national. Life put us nationally. But you understand. But I won't go into all that. Oh, somebody. And Boja and some of these people, and my good friend, and Janice back there. Oh, yeah, and so many of us. Anyway, and of the many years that my husband and I, Ossie Davis, we stood with Gertrude and other tireless advocates for community theater for New York. And wherever we gather in the name of community theater, Gertrude's voice has been raised in support of more equitable funding, particularly for theaters of color. And I look back at it, and I see, and I see so many people I've talked to all about it. With Frazier and well, this, anyway. This, where was I? Gertrude's voice has been raised in support of more equitable funding, particularly for theaters of color. And of course, I want to tell you about how we started with 6 cents in the street and shoveling the snow and shooting the steps and cleaning the toilet. We didn't even have a toilet. We didn't take nothing. So you can. I won't go into all that. And we're looking for more. And that library in Huntington District was our heaven, was our home, and then you, of course, we did it really here in Boulder. But when I looked at them, I think it was my children. But theater, these theaters were created in the 1960s. For me, it was in the late 1940s, like into the American Negro Theater, and in the 70s, and continue into the 21st century to create and produce a vibrant productions that reflect the multinational ideas and trends and issues facing New Yorkers and indeed the world. And New York community theaters have profoundly nurtured the careers of some of our brightest stars today, actors like Angela Bassett and Samuel Jackson and Denzel Washington and Sidney Bechet and Harry and Belafonte and Alice Silvers. Oh, just what a writer she was. But anyway, way before the Black theater movement in the 60s and the 70s, there was Gertrude Jeanette. And so in the 1940s, our paths first intersected as members of the acclaimed American Negro Theater, where we got our start going along with some of those people that I just, all those people that I just mentioned, and many, many more. Those that was also our brothers, our younger brothers. And in 1950, she starred in the legendary CBS production of God's Trombone with a black cast. By the 1960s and 50s and 60s, Gertrude had hit Broadway, originating roles in shows such as Lost in the Stars, Amen Corner, and Tennessee Williams's Vieux Carré. And Gertrude even talked Williams into expanding her role. And in the 1960s and 70s, her film roles included Nothing But a Man, Shaft, Black Girl, and Cotton Comes to Harlem, and that included those. And in 1952, Gertrude produced Ossie's first play, Alice in Wonder. And in 1979, she founded her own theater company, the Hadley Players, an organization which continues still until today, with Gertrude as its proud chairwoman emeritus. I'm sorry, it's going to be emeritus because I talk about her when I'm on the road and anybody else that wants to go in the theater. What can I tell you? And Gertrude has always been fearless. That's what I like about her. Nothing's, is intimidating. She works it. And in the early 40s, she was the first woman in New York City to get a motorcycle license, and in 1942 she became the city's first woman cab driver. So I'm excited and delighted to present, being asked to present by this, about my good friend Woody King Jr., which is, what can I say, my brother, my friend. I'm a today, and I'm so happy and lucky and thankful to God that I am almost everybody's mama. And so I'm excited and delighted to present my friend, Gertrude Hadley Jeanette, a true driving force in theater.
I am a very proud member of CTC. And I thank God that I'm almost 97. And I'm able to even stand here and receive this award. And I thank Ruby D. and Isaac Davis for creating CTC. I remember Ruby was playing in My One Good Nerve at the Pace Theater. I went backstage and I said, Ruby, I would like for you to do this play as a fundraiser for the Hadley Players. She said, of course I will. She said, well, I got to talk it over with Ozzy. I said, okay, and let me know. Ozzy called me a few days later, and he said, Gertrude, if she did it for you, she would have to do it for all of the groups. So I have an idea. We're going to celebrate our 5th wedding anniversary. And it's going to be a big affair, and all the proceeds will go to, he said, I have counted them, I think it's 12 theaters. Each one of you would get an equal portion. I said, that's all right with me. So they did. After the anniversary was over, they rented a space and went out to dinner and had all 12 of us, regardless of race there. And he gave us a check for $20,000 each. And then he said, I would like for this to be a coalition of theaters. I would like for this group to stay together, keep on doing plays together, and one for all and all for one. Well, we agreed, and for a while we did, but some took the money and ran. So remaining of us, we stayed together, and we would hold meetings and whatnot. And so we changed the name somehow. And it's now Theater of Color. Yeah, Coalition of Theater of Color. But anyway, we're still together. We have our fights and things like that. Correlate. The way I would like for us to correlate. But we're there, and we're going to stick together, and we're going to keep on doing good work in bringing you good theater and throughout our communities. I just wish that we could, when one of us is having that opening, no other group will open that week, so that we can support each other. And the press won't have to limit themselves, one come to one opening and one come to another opening. I would like for the press to attend all openings. And if we can just get together. Now I have so many other people to thank, so I'll be here all day, so I'm just going to run down the names. First, I thank my husband for introducing me to people like Jack Johnson, who I learned only had a 4th grade education, but he spoke like a college professor.
Sure did.
Not like the press and loudmouth. He did that in order to get a championship fight. But he spoke 7 languages. Fluent. And he spoke the English language fluent. And I was fascinated by all that gold and when he smiled. But anyway, he had kind of adopted me as his daughter, and he would take me around to Stillman Gymnasium and whatnot, and he would walk in and he would say, okay, fellas, I got my daughter with me, cut out the language, watch your language. And he told me all about his first wife, Clara, who was a black woman, and how she was the only woman he ever really loved. He ran away with his chauffeur and all of that. And the press made fun of him. And so he said, well, I'm not going to deal with black women anymore. I'm going to deal with your women. And I'm not going to go with the trash. He said, women in your high society leave their hotel keys in my dressing room. I'm going to pick that key up. And so he would tell me all these stories and whatnot. Then my husband introduced me to Paul Robeson.
Wow.
And when Paul Robeson asked why did I marry so young, why did you marry this guy here so young? And he said, I didn't know she was that young. She told me she was 19. And so Paul, I told him about my father was very strict. I told him about my father was an African student and all that. And he said, my dear, one day you're going to learn to appreciate your father. And so I have learned to appreciate my father in his teaching. So we were with Paul Robeson when the Ku Klux Klan in Harrisburg, New York, tried to lynch him. And my husband was somewhat a bodyguard for Paul. And then I was introduced to people like Ethel Waters, Marmus Mabley. I named some of them up on the screen. And they taught me a lot. I learned that they were educated. The Butterfly McQueen was joined my group. And she was highly educated. And Hattie McDaniel, she sang with Paul Robeson. You see, all of this is history. But these people had to take they wanted to be in show business. They took the only role that they could get. And some of them did very well with it. So I'm proud to be standing on the shoulders of these great artists. And let me see now, what else am I?
No. We got a proclamation for you.
Huh?
We got a proclamation.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Okay. I'm through.
okay, no. You can't go nowhere. You can't go nowhere. Okay.
Okay.
Charlie Rangle and Jackie Jeffries hooked up, and wow, I mean, what he said. Woo! Now, this is Shadi Lidcock, the youngest member of the coalition. She might still be in her 20s, y'all. So, and Miss Gertrude Jeanette, our senior member. So, Shadi, present.
On behalf of Coalitions of Theaters of Color and the Congress of the United States House of Representatives, this is a certificate of special congressional recognition to Miss Gertrude Jeanette.
And Charlie's got to extend her thanks.
I accept this in the honor of all of the great people that I'm standing on their shoulders. And Ruby,
Yes.
and you and I go to the head of the list.
Bless you.